So there are a lot of people who are worried about the reveal in these documents because, I don't know why, because they're guys who went to the island or they knew Jeffrey Epstein or they ignored the warnings about him. And that led to this weird exchange between Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Kimmel about a week and a half ago, where Aaron Rodgers suggested Jimmy Kimmel doesn't want the Epstein list to come out for personal reasons. Here's what he said on the Pat McAfee show, which then I guess Pat McAfee apologized for because Jimmy Kimmel threatened to sue. Here's what was said. Saw two.
You have Super Bowl 58.
You'll see it.
The emblem, put it on the screen. And then bring up 57 and 56.
Does that have something to do with the Epstein list that came out?
Feels like
It's supposed to be coming out soon. A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't come out.
All right.
Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel was angry, threatened to sue, and then he reacted on his own show as follows. Saw 3.
Needless to say, all this UFO talk has the tinfoil hatters going wild, including Green Bay whackpacker Aaron Rodgers, who offered this hot take on the Pat McAfee show.
I believe that this has been going on for a long time. Interesting timing on everything. There's a lot of other things going on in the world. Did you hear about the Epstein client list about to be released too?
What's that? What are you talking about?
There's some files that have some names on it that might be getting released pretty soon.
Oh.
Might be time to revisit that concussion protocol, Aaron.
All right, so just to correct myself, the second soundbite was from March. The first soundbite was just from Tuesday. So anyway, the point is they've been going back and forth about this. Because Kimmel made pretty clear, like, he's not totally in favor of the lists and like the scuttlebutt around the lists. And Aaron Rodgers kind of making the most of it. But if Kimmel does feel that way, he's not the only one. I mean, it seems like there are a lot of people who want this story to go away.
Yeah. It seems there are a lot of people on these lists, and it's weird because, you have these random names like Cameron Diaz and Naomi Campbell and Leonardo DiCaprio, and they're all saying they had nothing to do with him. Cameron Diaz's rep was vehement, and they're saying he was sort of a name dropper and he just sort of liked to imply that he had all these relationships with multiple people. His Black Book, which was published years ago, I believe in New York Magazine. I mean, like, everybody was in that book.
It doesn't mean you liked sex with underage girls.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you were soliciting massages or part of a sex trafficking ring or anything like that. The Kimmel thing was very strange to me. Like Aaron Rodgers sort of picking him out and saying, But it's one of those things. Again, I think people feel like, what is the actual story? Who are the actual bad actors? People aren't flying on this guy's private plane, the Lolita Express, without knowing what's going on. And at what point is your association with him a sort of complicity in what he's doing, especially if you happen to be a former president or a high-ranking royal who is being used, as the last dump showed us, I believe. Epstein considered Andrew a, quote, useless idiot, which is a great phrase, to sort of just lure in bigger bait. Yeah,
that's the latest reporting on him, is that he wasn't knowingly part of a sex trafficking ring. He was being used.
Right.
His name. It's like, you would think anybody that Prince Andrew, back then, now we know, but back then, is hanging out with is fine. And this is what Alan Dershowitz has said many times, that he was a Harvard law professor there, and that other people at Harvard were like, hey, meet Jeffrey Epstein. And then eventually, hey, Jeffrey Epstein needs representation. And I don't blame Alan for representing him at all. That's what criminal defense lawyers do. They don't represent only the angels.
Right.
It's the nature of their job. Then this Virginia Giuffre wound up accusing Alan, among others. And Alan has vehemently denied all of that. And I do think he's one of those names who, like, he just gets swept in there with these others. And, I don't know. Like, even Bill Clinton, I have to say, I believe he probably did like him young. How young? I don't know. Monica Lewinsky was young. Primary Colors suggests even younger than that, potentially. But to your point, might it be worth investigating when it's a former president, or when it's somebody like Prince Andrew, where there's actual testimony that it's been at least 3 times in 3 different locations, part of an orgy, like that is sex trafficking. These girls were trafficked, and they are very willing to walk right away from that now that he's settled it.
Yeah.
Andrew.
It makes you wonder what would have happened if Epstein hadn't committed suicide in prison. You know, I understand why these conspiracy theories abound, because there's been no sort of coalescing around this big mystery.
We don't feel like we're getting the straight skinny.
It's been years. And even with this document dump, we're still not really learning anything. Nobody's being held to any account. You know, Ghislaine Maxwell, this is going to be it. You know, you can't tell me she doesn't know where bodies are buried, but she's busy through her lawyer, you know, claiming that she's the victim, that of all these men who are so predatory, it's the woman who's in prison. Like, why don't you advocate then for these other girls and women if you really think that?
That's a good point. She could change that.
Yeah.
In other words, if she would name names.
She could change that narrative.
That's a good point. I'm going to ask Arthur Aidala about that. He's her lawyer. Our pal Arthur Aidala is representing her. So yeah, next time he comes on, I'll ask him. I don't know. I feel like we're not done with Epstein. We're going to get more documents today. Whether we ever get to the truth of what he actually did is another story. I know you've covered this for years. The thing about the Epstein accusers is, and I feel the need to say this, some I do believe are credible and have been telling the truth, and not all are credible. There's like a cloud around the actual victims of people who want to cash in on the Epstein story. And it's difficult sometimes to tell who's who as a reporter covering the story.
Yeah, I mean, I was working on this at my former place of employment years and years ago, before Epstein really became this sort of lightning rod. And I was approached by a woman who claimed that she had been a victim. And she began telling me stories, and she claimed to me that she had hard evidence involving very major players, some of whom we've been discussing. And I said to her after multiple conversations, I will fly to you wherever these boxes are, and if you show them to me, then we can progress with this investigation. And multiple times she had myriad reasons why she couldn't do it. And so I dropped that thread. I completely abandoned it. Nothing was adding up. You also, as an investigative reporter covering something like this, have to sort of thread a needle where if you're dealing with women and girls who claim they've been the victim of sexual assault, a kind of institutionalized sexual assault, you also have to realize you're probably dealing with people who are broken to a large degree.
Yeah, so true.
So some of them may believe that what they're recalling is true, but is it? It's very, very difficult. And it's why these documents are going to remain a mess, I think, for the foreseeable future.
And you do, as a reporter, have to be careful, because I look at what happened, speaking of Dershowitz, there's an actual correspondence between one of these women who was in the Epstein orbit and said she was trafficked by him, and a reporter. And it's the reporter, I think she's a reporter, says to the alleged victim, name Dershowitz, use the name Dershowitz. He's powerful. And like the suggestion of his name came from someone other than the victim to be named and highlighted, because it would really get a lot of attention. So I also feel for some of these names, like, I don't know, just because the one Jane Doe says Prince Andrew was with her 3, like,
right.
I don't think Prince Andrew behaved well. There's no question to me about that. But whether he did this, look, we should look into it. There should be an actual investigation about it. And you're right, Ghislaine Maxwell and these others should help. The Megyn Kelly Show is supported by Grand Canyon University. Founded in 1949, GCU is a private Christian university that is dedicated to delivering an affordable and transformative higher ed. Their vibrant campus is located in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. And according to niche.com, it's ranked a top 25 best campus in the country. As of June 2023, GCU offers 330 academic programs, with over 270 of them online, allowing you the freedom to earn your degree on your time from wherever you are. At GCU, your degree, whether it's a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, integrates the free market system and a welcoming Christian worldview. Learn more about GCU's programs, competitive tuition rates, and scholarship offers from your own university counselor. They are part of the supportive graduation team that's going to take a personalized approach to helping you achieve your academic goals, walking alongside you every step of the way. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. For more information or to enroll, visit gcu.edu. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.